Okay, welcome
What a
back,
way to start a video.
everybody. What was that?
Oh, nothing. Just the recording started directly as I was making about 3 millimeter eye contact with the camera. So
Oh,
it's gonna be
God.
really awesome in the video.
Yeah, it'll be great. Great way to start. Okay, let's
I
see
would say
here.
your eyes are the highlight of every recording.
Get a
Ooh.
room.
Whoa! I don't know what
Uh,
he just did. Oh,
so last session, the party had succeeded. You had defeated Kronos, the Time Lord. You had sent him running. And more than that, you had cast Atlas back to his world pillar and had taken some much needed time to revel in your successes. Um, the thing about hard work is that you need to play hard too. So you guys went and did some drinking with Hercules, and Hercules proved himself to be the greatest archer on Olympus by tricking Silenos in a contest of archery. But the two of them, well, the three of you guys got into some trouble with Apollo, and it was a good time. Um, Thalia made contact through a powerful wish that was summoned, and made her way to another dimension with Valerie and got to spend a couple of hours uh, saying hello and just sort of finding each other in a most interesting circumstance where both Leonis and Thalia and Valerie were all sort of at the peaks of their power and no more were they meeting as mentor and student or in any sort of capacity, but as equals, finally sort of meeting each other at the right point in time, converging like Benjamin Button. Um, and the rest of you decided to be responsible. You went to go talk to Athena, who was hard at work laying next plans, asking if all of you were interested in aiding in next steps, or if you wish to celebrate your victory before it is won, much like her other siblings. You all elected to be of aid, and began to consider different possibilities for the future. And one of them came up that one of you suggested to Athena that you guys become the next Time Lords or one of you becomes the next Time Lord. And she was like, uh, maybe not. But she did say if you could prove to me or find a way that there is some kind of sense in assigning new godlings, just barely born dem gods on Olympus, why it would make sense to help you with this power. Maybe just maybe she'd support you. I'll put a little side note on there. All gods have different opinions of different things and different motives. Just because one says no does not mean you can't find support with others. Athena's word is not law around here. Only Zeus's word is law around here. But anyway, you guys set up a ritual thanks to Katara. Katara, the thing that you were asked to do by Athena was to speak to Ipetus, interrogate Ipetus, learn what he knew. For when the gods descended into the underworld to defeat this adversary who has long eluded them, he surrendered without worry, without resilience. He allowed himself to be found and allowed himself to be re-imprisoned within Tartarus without a word of uh, resilience, without a word of any kind of negotiation whatsoever, simply allowed himself to be captured. And while the other gods celebrate this as a grand victory, Athena remains suspicious. And so, with the power of the goddess of secrets, all of your minds have been funneled into the mind of Ipetus. You are certain that the god of mortality cannot harm any of you, as you are all immortal and beyond the reach of his domain. But he is still the mind of a titan. He is still a mind quite strong and warned you to be cautious, for you all may be powerful, but he has been around for eons. It was also pointed out as the idea of erasing his memory and Kronos' memory came up, that Athena would not consent to such a thing happening. She said, by all means, threaten, use it to leverage as you wish, but the mind of Ipetus is one, again, of eons of age, several millennia of knowledge and wisdom lie within his mind, and to destroy it uh, would be to essentially like to destroy her domain in a way, or to to burn a grand library of eons of knowledge. For he is your enemy, but he does have this resource to him that the gods would not see spent, or at least Athena would not see spent. So we pick up our session here as Katara completes her ritual, and all of you are pulled forth. You find yourself in a strange space. It's a dark but enchanting place. It is one that you are all familiar with. There is a feeling of it's a feeling of almost excitement, of passion, of a touch of fear. There is doom. There is a great doom that looms over it all, but there is ambition and will, and it's a great deal to comprehend, but it is familiar like a dream you had once before. Many times before, perhaps, but not in a long while. And you see sort of out of the gloam and out of the mist of this mind, nearly incomprehensible, you see the gargantuan size of Ipetus in the dark. He turns to you and you see his face. One that you have seen before, Katara, here and there. But you see this face that burns with red and green eyes that gloam and leer. His face seems to almost disintegrate under his beard, much like a skeleton that's lost a lot of its constitution, that is just on the verge of collapse, of death, one that is barely existing, bearing the regalia of some deity of death and despair. Um, though his face is one that is deathly, his eyes are filled with life and passion. And you stand in the dream space of Ipetus, and he sees you all. He kind of strokes his long beard and says, I miss you all. You were once all so beautiful. Pity.
So I'm just gonna kind of reach out. I'm trying to see if can I conjure something in the dream, like um maybe like a vision of the underworld. Um Not Tartarus. Maybe just one of the fields. I just want to see if
Fields
we
of
have
Elysium.
control here.
One
You
of the
conjure the
nicer
field.
neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. You conjure the fields of Elysium. Uh, oh yeah, watch the. Oh yeah, look how powerful you are. Ready? The fields of Elysium, vast and enchanting, rise behind you. Good God. Rise behind all of you, and you will find yourself on that plain of green grass and golden grain, towering mountains and a blue sky, a place of paradise and peace. And Ipetus looks around, sort of almost apathetically, almost, dare I say, with a hint of disgust. You come, but without words. Do you fear me, even in this place?
I don't fear shit.
He sort of smiles at you, Ouroboros, and says, still something left. Perhaps not, though.
What's your deal, man? Huh?
My deal. He'll reach a hand out, Ouroboros, to you, and like doesn't actually touch you, but almost like reaches for you, but doesn't quite like he wants to, but he can't quite, and he retracts his hand. He says, confidence of immortality, I see, takes good hold of you, Ouroboros.
Oh, I had this
And
shit way back. Huh.
no. What you had before, you had courage. Now, now you're beyond the need for it. You are not as you used to be. So glorious, so unrelenting. And now, nothing more than stardust.
Hmm.
Too much, too much.
Impetus, correct?
Yes, child of belief. And you, I expected more from you, at least. You who respects life and death, the height of the trees and their inevitable fall. It's a shame.
I do what I have to do. For you, you seem to miss the fact that we were mortal.
Of course. What is beauty everlasting? It's nothing. It is nothing at all. Beauty, beauty, true beauty, is in knowing that it does not last forever, in that it will change, in that it's fleeting. He looks to Thalia and says, and here now, like a statue, never to change, always this, forevermore, caught still like a painting. But a painting merely emulates the subject. Subject will only be there for a moment. You were beautiful.
And what do you make of yourself? You were immortal. You were undying.
There was no choice for me. I was born what I am. And during the great wars of the Titanomachy, I fought alongside my brothers for reasons I hardly remember, but I remember the day they created the elves. God, my, the elves. Greatest of mortals. Indeed, so long lived and so graceful for so long, and after hundreds of years they'd fade, and what a taste it was to know of those who would see doom, and then the dwarves came, and even they were even more beautiful than the elves, they who toiled away like Hephaestus, and then finally the grandest prize Zeus and the gods ever made. Humans. Humans. Was there ever a greater thing? So fleeting is their lives, but so tirelessly do they toil. Philosophy, art, and the beauty of their youth, it is but for a fleeting second. But it's like a flower, perfect, delicate flower, for a moment only, and then gone. But now you are this, golden and regal for all time. Youth, no more. Time, eternal. Wasteful.
But that brings up a interesting question if I've ever thought of one. And I haven't thought of many. Uh
Time.
if humans in your eyes and your vast wisdom and mind are the most beautiful creations, then why side with Kronos, who wishes to have the world filled with monsters instead?
Hmm. Monsters are mortal as well, albeit not as interesting as the humans. They, they are not what humans are, who use their time with such concentrated concern. It is true. It is true. It would be a waste to see humanoids wiped from this plane, wiped away. I fear what my brother will do, now that he is but the last of us, still free.
You say you love the humans. You love mortal kind.
I love what they are, not who they are. But yes, I love to watch them be born, be beautiful, but for the beat of a butterfly's wing, and then rot and die.
I know you speak of more than you can imagine, impetus. But the future Kronos is building has no place for them. Place for them.
Think of it. Think of the apocalyptic doom that comes. My, what scramblings, what heroics, what courage is summoned in those fleeting moments. It would be a shame to see them never again, but the greatest of all arts is in doom. Oh, that moment. The splendor. To see them now up above. How they scramble to achieve what they have not been able to for years.
You
Their final days.
you so you love that they can suffer and die, but not that they can live.
I love both. Every life is a tapestry, but all tapestries must end. No one listens to the song that goes on forever. They listen to the song that is short and sweet. Wait for the chorus, the high final note, before it dissipates into a beautiful cease. This is the glory of mortality.
Do you love that song only because you'd be one of the few left to hear it?
I love it for what it is. Just as many love art, so too do I like life, and so too do I love death, and all of the works in between.
So, so you love their suffering, you love their death, but you're not willing to help them live first.
I think of that final symphony when they realize apocalypse is upon them, when they realize they have but minutes. Oh, how I await to see who they hold, what words they speak, what final moments they take before it's done, before it's over, before the symphony is complete. How grand.
You talk about grand
Orders.
ends. Why did yours end so weakly?
Is that what you think?
That's what it seems.
Hmm. Still look with mortal eyes, I see. Like I said, not all lost just yet.
But
Is that why you've come then? For secrets? He looks at you, Qatar. I've heard of your ascension. Your tale was too short. I would have much rather seen it a longer symphony.
Interesting that you want to hear longer symphonies, but what you're describing is all symphonies being cut short.
Every song has its rhythm, all different themes, all different paces. There are some songs that are long and boring, but others that are long and captivate for stretches of time. While there are some that are short and forgettable, but others that are, oh, but you'd wish for another couple minutes. Every life is a masterpiece. I would wish to see that masterpiece perfected in every way. So,
I
And
there
think
are
in the
can't be
those who waste
future,
their
perfected.
lives. Sorry, go ahead. Who said?
in in the future that Kronos promises, much too many of those symphonies will be the same. You won't hear that variety anymore.
Beasts as far as the eye can see. There is no triumph, no glory. Yes, doom is always around, but no one ever rises up to beat it. They just succumb to it. No, no,
Oh,
I have seen it. We have seen it. This idealized future that you believe that Kronos will provide for you and your kin, it will not occur. You will be the first in his line of slaves. Just like your brothers. And who will be at the top? Of course, Kronos. This,
make it. Go ahead.
I was just going to be like, and this with every fiber of my being. I swear to you.
Make a speech check.
'23.
23. Very good. He looks a little concerned. Oh,
If I think back to when I saw Ipetus in the future, did he have the same demeanor as this Ipetus, or was he angrier?
no, he was similar to this when he was like anybody, right? Like I don't know, when he was in pursuit of you, he was, you know, battle ready, which has a different demeanor to it.
Okay.
But nothing that is like his entire thing had changed. You know, he looks very similar to how he did then.
Okay. I'm just trying to gauge if he would like to see himself in what
Yeah,
he
he
looks.
looked pretty much like
Yeah.
himself in the future as he does now.
Okay.
He'll say, um, what I know is this. I was here where I am now, down deep in the earth, when the Titans defeated, or when the gods defeated the Titans who are far more mortal than us. To see the Titans, or the giants, defeated, to see your kin defeated, those last battles were glorious. But giants live quite a long time. I would wish to see such a massacre again. But with the humans, never know what they're going to do. Who knows? Perhaps Prometheus might be convinced to create a new mortal race once the humans are gone. Far better, far shorter lives. Yes, maybe half as long, but half the ambition more. Yes. What art they would show. Like putting rocks into an already rapid river and raising the pressure of the stream. Ambition, all the more extras doom rolls faster. Perhaps the future you have seen can be changed. What is it that you saw? He
I will.
releases your silence spell inside the
God damn it.
inside the dream.
Okay. Buildings that scrape the sky. Monsters and beasts as far as the eyes can see. Crafted by Nyx in the dark. There is no safety for mortals.
The mortals built these buildings so high, crafted from their hands.
I have not watched them build the buildings, but I assume that they did.
What
Technology run
doom?
amok.
What doom Nyx has brought then? And how high and tall they build with what time they have left. Marvelous. Marvelous.
Hmm. You have a wife, don't you?
Yes.
Well, it may interest you to know that when Kronos defeated the gods, or converted them, he took all manner of brides, shall we say? Or perhaps courtesans would fit better. I dare say that if he, in theory, and he'll kind of say that with like a, I'm telling you something, but not telling you something. If he wanted your wife, then he may just take her. Would you let Kronos do that? Would you watch the symphony as she cries your name?
You're a fool, boy. You're a fool to threaten such. You do not know my brother. My wife was given to me by he, my brother still. And me and her have created such symphonies as like that you envy, boy. For you have seen my towering son, he who holds the world high, Atlas, he who you envy such. How does it feel to talk to the sire of the subject of your envy? We can play at insults all you like, boy. Is that where we've come to now? At this point of the conversation, threats, mockeries, bribes, even. Is it that time now? We can
No,
leave the music behind.
no, it is not.
Good. I'd be disappointed. I have seen all manner of torment down here in the earth, so please continue.
Everything. God, Titan, mortal, beast, flower, all have a time. And that time, at some scale, is always fleeting.
Yes.
Eventually, Nyx wins out, and all that is will not be, including you, including Kronos, including all of us. If that is true, then everyone has a place and a time to which they belong. Your brother feels as if he alone should be in control of that order. And that isn't true. We're not asking for him to be put aside. He has his place, he has his time. But that responsibility should not be his alone, not be anybody's alone. Time should remain unfettered, so that which is of its time can have the symphony that it ought to have, be it god or titan or mortal or beast or flower. He is usurping all of the music, thinking that he can control the notes, the meter, the rhythm, all of it. If it does not please him, he hopes that he'll be able to change it. But it's never as harmonious as it could be, as it should be.
So what do you propose then? That the man in front of the orchestra hand the baton to someone else? Let the measure of time be someone else's to command?
I think the measure of time needs to be dispersed to many. Let him control a piece of it. Let you control a piece of it. Let us control a piece of it. Let Apollo mark the cycle of days that is already in his purview, and that's a count of time. Let Demeter measure the seasons which are already his. The lifespans and mortality that exist, let them do that. Prometheus and oh god, I'm having a brain fart.
Alice?
Hephaestus.
Hephaestus.
Let them dictate the coming of innovation when those ideas are ripe to be born.
Mhm.
Let the mortal world build that which it can in the time that it has. There is every opportunity that, given time, that humanity will provide you with more music than you will have time to hear. They are ambitious, but they are also fractions. And let nature roll forth storms and volcanoes and famine, and let that be music to you as well. Things that are outside of their ability to control, but within a time and a scope that is appropriate. If no one has the ability to alter the past, to change the future, shy of walking the long road to that future, then you can have as much music as Nyx will ever allow. Because ultimately, Nyx will silence every tune. Yours, mine, Kronos's, everything will fall to silence.
Make me a persuasion check.
I wanted to add onto that. As soon as he finishes saying that, I would say, you love.
Sorry, can you just, I don't want to, I want to get the result of the roll and then we're going to hit you,
18.
okay? 18. Thank you. All right, go ahead there.
Yeah.
Oh, boss.
After Gyasi finishes his sentence, he'll say, you love the symphony that comes from humans. You said yourself, they are the most beautiful. Let there be that beauty in those individuals dying. After eons and eons and time uncountable, the melody will just grow off of the histories of those fallen before. And you will have a tune that ever changes, that grows in its beauty, talks of lives only remembered through song, through love, through pain, through glory. If you save the mortals, you will never be without that song.
As
Persuasion.
as Ouroboros is doing this speech, I want
All right, hold
to.
on and we'll wait for his. Sorry, okay, you go ahead if there's an answer. Go
It's,
ahead.
I'm just adding the background to it. I wanted to sort of threads of fate, like the way that we saw it with the three fates, like in the background and like kind of like playing them as notes So like as he's talking about mortal, like one's going to be longer, one will be shorter. Like I want to show the variety of mortal life.
Got it.
Ooh.
Okay,
Um,
what'd you get there, big dog?
okay, I got 11, but can I use the Ouroboros ring?
You can, of course.
All right. Okay, I'll roll a d8.
Okay.
It's been a
All
while.
right.
That'll be shit. Hold on. Do I want to go back or forward? I rolled a 6. That'll make it a. I'll go forward and make it a 15.
Okay, 15. You speak Ouroboros, and as you're sort of finishing off, his eyes are mostly trained on Gyasi and seeing the many threads of fate that Katara strings across. And though your words add a sort of background to it, it's Gyasi's words that he clings to. Um, and he sort of says, "It has not been yet much that I get to experience the end of an immortal. So rare, so very rare is the symphony of the end of like hmm. And not a bard amongst you. You truly believe the gods would be good musicians with time on their side?"
As good as any other.
Uh,
I believe they have. I believe they have their place and their time. Their time is
hmm.
somewhat longer.
Is it music better with more than one?
This
Hard to have
is
a symphony
true.
with only one.
This is true. More than one composer, though. It could be madness. Hmm. Well,
Some claim that
chaos. Yeah.
rocks in a stream, the rolling of water against the shore are beautiful and melodious. Are they not ultimately agents of chaos?
Hmm.
I think that there is beauty aplenty, some by design, some by random happenstance, and there's ugliness. There are ill notes. Those happen too. And they are necessary. Without them, you wouldn't recognize the true notes. Not everyone can be a hero. You have to have a plethora of the mundane to make the hero song stand out. You need the background so the harmonies can assert themselves.
I propose this. You have some ideas about you. And you all do seem to speak in large with one voice. Some of you don't speak much, but at least stand together. What if we created an orchestra with such a crescendo that none would expect? We all get what we want. I think you put the wrong composers together, the wrong people working together, and things get messy, especially when they don't get along. Sometimes the best of work, but I would wish it all improved. And so does it seem to all of you. What say you to becoming the new conductors of time? The way I see it, Zeus, if it is put in his hands, if he was given the power, he'd have some number of offspring to ensure cosmic order, which is just boring. But all of you, so different, but so of the same mind, composing together, that could be swell. That could be well and good. And with that would be required at the end of Kronos, who I have grown weary of, admittedly, to some extent. You wish to be defeating your enemies and seeing time distributed to new composers and see mortality take on a different wavelength, a different tapestry, a different flow. I am here, I am stuck, and your gods would never accept me for my crimes, but all of you. What if we
I
composed something together?
I can't speak for the others, but I think that we represent enough similarities and differences that we could work well in that way. We have
Great.
somebody who understands nature and its cycles and importance. We have somebody who understands the value of secrets, what is revealed and hidden by time,
And when?
and suffering and birth and death are tightly bound to the world of pain. And the most beautiful notes are born out of grace and fellowship.
Yes. It would keep order to split such a domain amongst a group. Zeus has done this before. The Muses, the Horae, the Graces. He has often relied on groups of offsprings to manage the more complex domains. Oh, yes, I see it. I see it still. This will, of course, have to be our little secret. I am sure the gods would be loath to distribute their power in a way that they did not choose. Your myths are filled with histories of the gods being tricked and played against one another, and this would be to their benefit, and this would be to my benefit and benefit of many. Oh, yes. I could
And
tell you the next step if you wish to go down this road.
I am more than willing. But then again, I stole godhood. It wasn't given to me.
Oh, and he sort of like pulls his hair back and he says, "It all is coming together, isn't it? The thief of immortality, secrets and grace and pain and growth, friendship." Oh, I haven't been this excited in a long time. Not since Kronos came to me first with the idea of a final symphony of doom. Yes, yes, yes. Please go, speak amongst yourselves. Make the decision. Make the choice to be better. To whatever you need to discuss. And if you tell me, I of course will help you find Kronos. It will be a most important part of the plot.
If I may, Ippitus, what do you see your existence, the rest of your immortal days? How do you see it playing out
Oh,
if there is a new composer? New composers?
it is a shame I cannot witness the glorious music here in Tartarus. I did, though. I did for 10 years while this war raged. A fine 10 years to watch the wars wage and battles fought and symphonies made and music played. Ah, what music. But with Zeus and his kin on the throne, I will never see the surface, not without rebellion of some kind. Hmm. The children of my brothers and sisters, they are too powerful and too unforgiving. So unfortunately, this must be where I lay. Down here, only my influence upon the mortal world above will have any sway, but my own ears will not hear the mortal tales. In my dreams, I do walk that plane and see the humans, and the dwarves, of course, and the elves. But impossible while Zeus sits on his mighty throne. So instead, let me relish this new orchestra, new composers made for the subject of mortality. You must promise me one thing, and one thing only, however, if I am to help you. Do not do the mortals the injustice of longer life. Do not extend the tale longer than it ought, and do not shorten it more than it should. Let every story have its third act, and no more. Not for the weakness of compassion, not for morality, but so that each life is a beautiful story to tell. This is all I'd ask. Be better composers than my brother Kronos. Bring art to their lives and the length of them. This is all I ask.
That sounds very agreeable. And perhaps, given time, one of us can come and visit you in Tartarus and tell you of the tales in your waking mind for you to hear, to relish in, and to feel as though you are a part of that.
That would be nice. Oh, my thirst. Well, then, decide, make your decision. You, Gyasi said you could not speak for your friends. So then speak, all of you, let your voice be one, and then we will decide what happens next.
Well, and if I can use it here, I will use our telepathic bond in the dream to connect us, so we can have a ex parte conversation in parte.
Fair enough.
Two hours of dialogue dialed down into 1 second in the mind.
Yeah, I think in this moment, if as sort of I feel the connection, he doesn't seem to be very interested in the underworld, so I'll change the landscape to somewhere on the mortal plane, just to give him a bit of a distraction, really.
You take him to the plane, like Athens, where, yeah, honestly, like very much like, yeah, some mad artist or almost toddler-esque, like kneels down, like puts his hands on his knees and like watches the mortals as they go with an obsessive look and like like maybe like pushes one down the street so that they meet another and kind of watches how that goes. And then, frankly, in a kind of sick kind of way, like sees this one person walking down the street and just kind of like smushes them and kind of like seems to relish both
Yeah.
the high points of their lives and the ends of them.
I
give
was
him a
just about to
dollhouse
say, I
and
like this guy.
yeah, give him a dollhouse. Okay.
Life and death,
Yeah.
mortality, these are the things he admires.
So serial killer.
He's a little deranged. A little bit. How could you not be after a millennia of torture?
Yeah.
Well, and you're saddled with the domain of mortality.
Probably
You're
sucks.
you're gonna go a little bit nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine there was a point in time where he very much didn't like the end of the story very much, but
Mm,
you have to get used to what is all around you. People adapt, right?
mm,
Learn to like it or go crazy.
mm.
Anyway,
And the 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 truth of it is that that shared responsibility was the thought that I had when I approached Athena. I pitched it as a singular individual because her reaction would have been in the negative. So when a
A better option comes
joint
along.
solution came along, it would seem that much more appealing.
oh, very close. Oh,
That's some
I'm so
great
worried for
fucking
this
mind
Eberron
games.
game.
Oh. Wait. I'm sorry, Gios. Say that again. So you pitched her the worst solution, putting them in one,
Yes.
instead of mixing it all among, say, us.
Yes, exactly.
You need to play
Because
a wizard. You're too smart not to play a wizard.
So Eric, we have a Greek intrigue game coming up pretty
We got
soon.
him in that Eberron intrigue campaign already, man.
Sign this man, sign him.
We drafted him already, man.
Draft him.
yeah,
$25 a week. That's it. That's your contract.
I'm so happy we have smart Eric on the team.
Okay. Anyway,
I and for what it's worth, I took behavioral economics at Duke.
Hey!
That
Blue Devils, baby!
that is cut and paste from part of behavioral economics. If you want somebody to make a choice, you give them three things to choose from. You give them
yeah.
A and B, and then the ugly version of whichever you want them to choose. And when you present ugly A and B, about 80% of the time they'll choose A because it looks like a better deal.
Yeah, it's bartering.
It's It's cheap, it's sleazy, and it works. It really, honest to God, works.
So just you give them shitty A, shitty B, but then you go super shitty C, and that'll push them back to A or C. They look
No,
good
no,
by
no, no, no. The 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 behavioral element is you have to present two things that are about par with one another. You know, Zeus gets the power, Kronos gets the power. You know, all the power residing in one hand, or it being distributed somehow. Those are your A and B. By injecting one of us, and Yasi chose to speak for himself, as the ugly version of us, that makes us as a group much more appealing.
It's just people willing to do it if one of his sons was involved. So
Doesn't matter whether Zeus likes it or not.
true. Might be better than A and B.
So with that being said, what do we feel, everybody? And everybody must say that they are
I
in.
that's that was my thought from the get go. Is that onus over time needs to be distributed, whether it's to us specifically, us in part, some to the Titans, some to the gods, whatever that needs to be. It needs to not be seated in a individual. And there needs to be somebody who is guardian over the past to prevent somebody from intentionally mucking with it. You know, to borrow the Marvel stuff, we need the time enforcement folks to go, no, fuck you, sit the hell down.
The TVA.
Yes.
So obviously Gyasi is in. I just want everyone to be aware that this guy did give up. He surrendered when fighting the gods. Like he had a plan,
He does.
which makes us think that now
Oh,
he probably still does have a plan, even if it's a different one from the original one, to advance himself in some way.
possibly. Do you think this could be part of his plan?
I don't know how he would have thought of that, but
Kronos is the god of time. Maybe he can see into the future.
And there is the possibility that he is honest so far as he's been able. He's tired of the nonsense. He's tired of the brinksmanship and being caught in the mother may I middle, and wants to kick back and just listen to the music without somebody going, hey, can you do this? Or hey, what about this? You know, he wants to be left alone and just listen because he's had enough.
so
Um,
next up,
who are you talking to?
whoever.
um, how would how are you proposing this all be distributed? Is it one for past, present, future, and another to watch over?
I I I think that the 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 living cycle would be your burden, Alicia. And I say that in the true measure of that sense, because this will be a burden for all of us. I think that birth and death, both of which are born out of pain, would be inside the sphere for Ouroboros. I think revelations of secrets, either new secrets coming to light or existing knowledge fading from memory. I think that is your purview, Katara. I think that the the points of light for humanity are born out of grace and fellowship. You know, the self-sacrifice, the striving for something greater than themselves is a function of grace. The willingness to help your neighbor, and that sort of thing is born out of fellowship. You know, nations coming together are in part born out of fellowship, uh, and those all have a time and a place. And if I am going to watch over the watch over the interactions of the gods and the land of Gaia, I can see adding watching over the past, just to see that it is not tampered with in the ways that Kronos did when he is shifted things forward or backward. You know, let the march of time be forward day by day. And if someone wants to get to the future, let them travel the long path.
I
I
couldn't agree more. Um, I see you and your protection over the realms and your gaze and watching, and I think in addition to helping Thalia guard the present and current, I think can help watch the future in an end time sense. I think I have a connection to the end after all. Perhaps I can help bide time.
All right. Gyasi is in. Silenos is in. Katara, did you say yes?
Yes.
It's completely fine if you don't want to, but I assume as the goddess of secrets that this is something that you'd like to do.
I think Gyasi put it quite eloquently. I think bookending past and future, pain and secrets, and the present being grace and fellowship, and Alicia and Gyasi watching the flow, making sure that it's correct
All right. That's Gyasi, Katara, Silenos. Alicia, how do you feel?
To be clear, Ouroboros would be the end. Shared with Silenos, I believe, or
We got okay at past and future. We got Thalia and Silenos in present. Gyasi and Alicia was around. I drew a map, you guys. I don't know if you'll see it. I don't think you
post in
can
the
with those
chat. Post in the chat. But if this could lead us to stopping Kronos, very well, I'll do it.
All right. And last but not least, Thalia. Any thoughts?
Yes, I've been silent throughout this discussion because frankly I have no desire to be a part of it at all. I don't want this power of time. I could not be trusted with it.
Thanos puts his arm on Thalia's like back and just nods his head. That's okay.
Ouroboros, yeah, he nods in understanding.
I'd like anybody who is interested to roll me either a religion or arcana check to try and comprehend how it might work doing this. The balancing of the cosmos, the power of time, how that might function amongst you.
Okay.
Natural 20.
16.
Fittingly so. Fittingly so.
Thanos thinks
16.
for a second, and then looks at Katara.
What did folks get?
I got a dirty 20 religion.
Got it. Who else?
11.
Nope.
I burned my inspiration for a 28 Arcana.
Very nice. Okay. Got 2 successes.
16. Would that be enough?
No, unfortunately not. No,
Can I
this
use
is
luck?
high knowledge here. Sure.
23.
23. Nice. Yep, success.
Okay.
And Katara, you rolled a natural 20 for a what?
27 for Arcana.
27. Thalia, did you roll?
Yeah, I got 18.
18. So yeah, you wouldn't know. So there's 2 levels of success here. My Katara and I think Yasi, who rolled above a 25, will know more, but the rest of you who rolled above 20 would know that like yes, this is a very large domain. And since you are sort of coming into your godly power, it makes sense to take this amongst yourselves as like a group. So yeah, it makes sense, and it is very possible to distribute this. For example, there is a group of goddesses in the pantheon known as the Hore, who are very important to the balance of the multiverse. And essentially, what they do is they balance nature and cosmic order, and there are 6 of them. 3 of them are the seasons, 3 of them are different parts of order. So this could work. This very well could work. Thalia would not be necessary to, and that this is where we're getting into like Yasi Katara's region of knowledge, where the more advanced region of knowledge. At minimum, this probably needs 3 individuals, but and even then it's getting dicey. If 5 of you are on board and there's a 6th who has other desires, that's probably not going to upset the balance of how this is all going to work very much. and this again is Gyasi Katara, there is something to consider. Within these groups of individuals that have dominion of uh, domains as a group, those individuals, they're not quite like the gods. They're more like the fates. So you know how, so let's take examples. So Apollo, he is, the god of the sun and all of these things and whatever, but he has lovers, he has a persona, he has a personality, he's very much manifested, he's flawed, he has lovers and children and all of these things, and is very much a conscious individual. Um, Now, the Fates, who you've met, they're much more sort of mysterious and ethereal and almost like manifestations of fate more than personas and like people with domains, if that makes sense. Like they are the domain, they are personification. There is a very, very good chance that in the undertaking of such an intense domain, that you might lose. You might be as far from mortal as you've ever been. You might very well, in the same way, become more like personifications of these aspects of time rather than individuals. And certainly, if that doesn't come true, one thing that is certain is that this is a full-time job. Controlling the domains of fate. There won't be time, much like the other gods, for dallying with mortals and having affairs and infighting and whatnot. Much like the fates who spend every moment of every day weaving and toiling and cutting, it would be a constant and unending burden. A powerful and important commitment, but one that requires full commitment. But again, that might this is an estimation. You guys, you're not Zeus. Zeus is the master of sorting out cosmic balance to make sure things work out well. This is just like off the top of your head, and even this might not totally be true. This is your best estimation of how things will go, just to be very clear. So that's the knowledge that you gain in this one.
And just the groups of individuals that like the six versus, does it seem like the more you have, the more likelihood you retain a little bit of yourself? Or is it like, because the fates are three and they're kind of
If it's your more powers distributed by like 10 instead of 6 or 3.
That's a very good point. Let me see. Um, I think in that moment, yeah, you guys realize that of those groups of individuals, they're grouped in threes, multiples of three. So the Graces, there's three of them. The Muses, there is I think nine of them. The Horae, there are six of them. It seems to be that it functions best in multiples of three. So while it would take a minimum of three and be difficult as a three, chances are it'd be a much easier burden if it were six, undoubtedly. As a group of five, well, again, you're not sure. Zeus, this is his ball game. Sorting out cosmic order, that's his ball game. That's his thing. This is what he's really good at. And he knows that well. Um, so this is your best estimation at sorting out the cosmic order. It would be easier with six, can be done with three. You're not sure what happens with five, if that makes it, you're not sure what goes there. Yeah.
So kind of knowing that, Katara will look to Thalia. You convey more of your hesitation.
I like using and wielding the power that's bestowed upon me. I find great satisfaction in it, and if I had access to such power as time, I fear my selfishness would get the better of me. And frankly, I don't desire that sort of responsibility. I am of the domain of love, and and grace and compassion. These are things that are natural to me, but time is foreign and dangerous. I I don't see. And Thalia failed the check, so she doesn't know anything you just said.
Nope.
I'm trying to play it that
Yep.
way.
We
Very
understand.
good job.
Yeah,
I don't desire that responsibility, nor power.
it's better than taking it on when you're once ready. Thank you.
When the time dragon gave us the chance to go back,
Yeah.
I left you all and took that chance to be with Leonis again. I don't think I can be trusted with such power.
Thalia, I understand wanting to change some of those events that happened. Honestly, if I had the power solely, I would probably try to bring Kiros back. Maybe my brother. But this undertaking that we would be sacrificing ourselves for, and don't get it twisted, we may be immortal, but what we would be accepting is an eternity of labor. Labor for balance and labor for everything
My
to
labor,
continue running.
I don't intend to continue fighting after this.
I understand. And if you do not want to take this mantle, no one here, including me, would look at you any differently. The thing that stops me from accepting this with the predations to go and right the deaths of my friends and family is that I know that those things happened as they were meant to. And altering that would not, it would take away one of the embers in my heart that carries me through, that lights the fire that allows me to fight and to carry on.
And I think it's important to recognize that we would not be writing the fates of our friends, family, relatives, neighbors, enemies. That's not the purview of time. That's the purview of the fates. We would be responsible for providing the threads for the fates to measure and cut. The fabric by which they generate the cloth that they weave. to assure that those things have an opportunity to happen. You know, the cycle of days, sunrise and sunset, morning, noon, night, those are already the purview of others. And we're going to be responsible for providing the opportunity for those things to happen. The fabric on which they take place. And each in our own way, that time is going to be flavored, whether it's moments of pain, both good and bad, physical and emotional, whether it's inspiration and secrets revealed or secrets clothed back to time, whether it's people joining in fellowship or the birth, death, predation, the natural cycle of events. All of those. Some of those specific pieces are not going to be ours to produce, but ours to provide the opportunity for them to happen. Time is the fabric on which events take place.
Do you not know if what will happen if only 5 take power?
I honestly think that we could probably do it with 4.
I think
A future, a present, a past, and enforcement to keep that flow intact from past to present to future. I think with 5, we can have a shared burden over the elements which make up that cycle.
if we choose less volunteer, the likelihood that your connections to the people you have in your life now will diminish.
I made that decision when Gaia granted me the grace of sanity.
I feel like I made that choice too when I took the ambrosia.
You'll say goodbye to all you know, all your friends.
If they can survive and prosper, I think it would be worth it.
It won't be our cause whether they survive or prosper. we will be responsible for giving them the opportunity to make what choices they will, the time in which they have to make them, as with as much latitude as the fates allow. It's exceedingly complicated because there is predetermination, there is determination, there is prophecy. All of those we have seen mixed right to this present day. And the wholeness of time is only constructed when all of those elements are mixed in a recipe with the right proportion. We
Okay.
will be responsible for providing those raw ingredients. And I think that we can do that.
We
So
can
be
do
it.
anything if we do it together.
I
Or like
I
3 or 4 of us do it together.
Like, 5 max. 5 max. 5 minimum. Not to single anyone out.
The more we talk, the more I'm solidified in my decision.
and that's perfectly fine. I think that we will be needing the purview of grace, because I believe that the challenges of this task are going to be as great as anything that we have undertaken. And we will require the surcease of grace periodically, and having a trustworthy bastion of that is truly going to be a boon.
Oh, it's worth asking. Even if you don't join us, do you agree with the plan ahead? Do you trust us? I think Yassi's right. Yeah, the other gods might take convincing, and it would be nice to have someone there who can help us speak.
Someone who knows us and cares for us.
I trust no one more to take on this burden. I've seen you all risk your lives, your immortal lives, even over and over again, and all for for our people, the people of Greece. And I do. I trust you all to carry this mantle and carry it well. I'd be honored to act as your spokesperson.
And if we, he kind of says with a kind of smile and a chuckle, and if we happen to lose ourselves and forget who we were, who we are. Beforehand, it'll be comforting knowing that someone will remember us as we were.
Storytelling and legacy, or storytelling creates legacy, and I will share the tales of the demigods for as long as I live. You may be lost to time, but you won't be lost to the hearts of the people in Greece.
Ouroboros is silent and lets down a single tear.
Avanos, do you still have the same opinion?
I do. Um, what is fellowship if not thing kind of holding you through life? So I think it's fitting. I guard people and the flow of that.
So if everyone has their decision, I believe we have our answer to Ippitus. And then I look over at Ippitus.
Who's like flicking. He's like,
I've just given him a catapult so he can just like
oh.
And some of them
Sitting
are on the side are
crisscross
getting
applesauce.
married.
Yeah.
Some
It's
and
like
some of them are
crisscross.
having playing and he's also playing house and having them get married and everything.
Oh,
Well,
I love you so much. I hate you.
But then they get back
Yeah.
together.
I'll make all the people, all the little humans, like just look over in unison back to the group. Yeah, this
No,
is a
I
signal.
think he's I think like in all honesty, I think if you're looking at him, he's like uh he's probably like looking at like the Senate building, like whatever would be the building of government, because a lot of senators are the patriarchs of their family and very old men. And he's like watching these old men make decisions for the city and for the young with what time they have left, and he's like fascinated by them. And then yeah, they all turn their attention. He like looks up and looks at all of you and sort of cranes back to his magnificent heights and sort of comes back to all of you and says, "So, is it time we change everything?"
Did his bones crack when he stood up?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Oh, shit, my back.
Oh, that's gonna
Oh,
hurt.
oh, could you make me a cane? Oh, no. No, none of that shit.
Yes, it is.
Ippitus, we are mostly in agreement. We will, amongst ourselves, take the mantle of time.
Very well. How interesting. We must proceed carefully. Oh, so carefully. There is only one of two paths forward, I see. You must do one of two things. One is more risky than the other, but the other more dangerous. Find Prometheus, this is essential, for my son created the first mortals, and I'm sure knows the alchemy necessary to make this possible. He will request of you his freedom. In exchange, a fair bid, if I do say, for was there a greater injustice? The father of your mortal races, pinned for trying to provide to his children. See him freed, and he will hide, and he will hide well. And I have no doubt, as I said, holds the alchemy necessary for all of you to wield what you must when the time is right. That is essential. And there is an optional step, a step before that, that may make the taking of the burden of time more successful, but it is perilous and dangerous. Somehow, obtain the knowledge of Zeus. He is the greatest craftsman of the universe. He has designed the universe with a composure, an arrangement so vast and beautiful that my brother could not compare, Kronos could not compare. You must take from him this knowledge. You may try and petition him for it, but I do not think he will allow you such powers. If you could find a way to know what he knows and have the knowledge that he does, his genius in the organization of the cosmos, you may just take this burden unto yourselves with more grace. And he looks at you, Thalia. These are your first steps, my friends. Prometheus as a necessity, the knowledge of Zeus as a high recommendation. Be cautious moving forward, for the gods will not approve of what you do. However, they will have no choice but to accept you once the deed is done, once you have claimed what you've claimed.
And at what point do we learn the whereabouts or the whenabouts of Kronos?
When you have freed my son. We Titans have made grievous errors, marvelous sin. We have been evil. But if there is one sure injustice, my son Prometheus has not deserved his fate. It aligns, I think, with your ideals and moralities to see him freed. So, as difficult as it is, I asked this in necessity. Free Prometheus, and I will tell you what you need to know to find Kronos. But go cautiously. The gods are wise and merciless.
Where is Prometheus imprisoned?
And I will tell you that once we get back from break, because I am not ready with that information.
Tune in next week.
Bam, guys.
Oh,
I
holy
don't
crap.
know what it is with all these campaigns ending, but I'm getting crazy curveballs every fucking time one of them's ending. The Feywild game, they were like, oh, let's just instead of going to war, let's do the third sundering. Let's just curveball you that. Put that together. Let's just find this ritual and sunder the Feywild to save it. I was like, okay. And now you
Even
guys are
though
like, let's just become the new Time Lords. Like, okay,
even
all
though
right.
I didn't put a word in for either of those events, the common denominator is definitely me.
You're in the
Uh,
background. You're in the background pulling the strings.
yeah.
I need to get Eric to
Yeah,
properly
sure.
explain his masterful gambits. Because that was
To do that,
genius.
you'll
Well, it
have
makes
to take
perfect sense.
a business economics course at Bartlett University.
Duke. Duke
Duke.
actually. Go blue.
Yeah. Fucking
Um
guy.
so it's basically you give him two shitty options, then you bring in a worse option.
Yeah. So
The middle
let me
ground.
put it this way. Like this is way out there and maybe not the perfect example, but it proves the point. Let's say I wanted to buy like a diamond ring and I wanted it cheap, right? I could give like three offers. One that is the offer that I want, one that is an offer that is completely off in left field that makes no sense, or an offer that is like really not in their favor. So they're gonna pick the one that is like the middle ground, essentially. So if I say like, give me the diamond ring for free is one of your options, or give me the diamond ring for 300 bucks. You're gonna be like, oh, well, I'll give the diamond ring to you for 300 bucks. Like, I'm not gonna give it to you for free. So it kind of inclines them to do what you want. You give them a ridiculous option first.
Basically, we've said you can have, like, Kronos can have power all on his own. One of us can have it, which is the lesser of the two. It's like someone that's not Kronos. And then we'll sit there and say, actually, let's just share it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You basically want them, you give them three offers and make sure the one you want is the middle ground
Yep.
of the three. Make two of them extremes and make the middle ground the one you want.
Okay, so let's say I'm buying a cheeseburger.
Sure.
They want to sell me a cheeseburger. One option is I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Two is option you just give it to me for free. And
Yeah.
option three is I just get it for $5.
I think you're
Yeah,
already
you're getting
there
there.
buying the cheeseburger. You're probably getting the cheeseburger.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I might be overthinking it, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
You definitely
you're
are,
getting there.
but
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
I think you're overthinking it a little bit, but
it,
you've got the concept generally.
Okay.
yeah, like in the military, they talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it, because oftentimes you'll have to present different solutions to, well, I'll say upper management, but it's like officers and all these types of higher ups, and you want to give them the one you want to do. You want to give them a secondary solution that'll get the job done, but it won't be as efficient. And then you give them a third one that's like basically their response is going to be, oh, fuck no. Like, I can't fucking do that. Uh, the shit's got to get done. So, of the two original options you gave, they're going to pick the most reasonable one. And hopefully, it's the one that you want to do.
Okay, I kind of get that.
Mhm.
I think
So
there's a name for this kind of thing.
one that's inconvenient, one that's unreasonable, and then the one that you want
Yep.
is kind of the way you want to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's I think there's a name for it, but I gotta look it up. But thanks.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a name for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere in Eric's big brained head of his. That's it. See it. Be back in a bit.
Okay.
All right.
You see my message, Ryan?
I'm gonna go look at it right now. Where is it?
Facebook.
Okay. I think it's very interesting. Yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
Hmm.
It's also a
I do
fun way
too.
to like it's also very Greek mythology, like kind of like trying to take power. It's what a lot of the
Yeah.
gods do anyway. I think it's very I think it's very Greek mythology. I think it fits themes beautifully.
Yeah. I would be very interested to see if it gets carried over in the Greek intrigue game. Uh, but I don't know. That's like way before any of this happened. So
Yeah, that's gonna be way before. Yeah, yeah. And chances are, like, hey man, maybe it'll end up being the prologue game. Who knows?
mm,
But then again, it might be just a separate universe because you guys are gonna have such influence over how events unfold
yeah.
that it'll probably be unrecognizable compared to what we got, like what the real Greek world looks like. Like your Greek world is gonna be very different.
Mm, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go take a little walk around.
Yeah.
Hola, niño.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm full on picturing like us as these new Time Lords as like like the Queen of the Damned like statues like that move every now and again.
That would actually be dope.
Hi, everybody.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Or hello. Okay, it's working again. Yay! Tech is great when it works. When it doesn't, it's a pain in the tail.
So how do we think Athena's going to take this plane?
More, if you believe, if Gyasi's idea is accurate, I mean, if Eric's idea is accurate, if business school paid off, thankful of economics paid off, she should be more receptive to this idea of being distributed. Because she doesn't want it only in Zeus's hands. She obviously wants it out of Kronos. She doesn't even trust it in herself. If it can be split between 3 or 4 or 5 or maybe 6, she might be open to that.
Split between 15.
Do you think we could
Everyone
find?
gets a little piece. You,
Yeah,
our time for you and you and you.
we could.
No, we couldn't. There's too much of a chance of overthrow
Here's what we could
with
do,
more than 10
okay?
people.
Listen. We take the minds of every mortal and make them in charge of their own destiny.
Is
That's
that
how
your
we end up in
domain,
Tartarus.
Destiny?
That'd be pretty fucking dope, though.
A
Okay,
cleric
let's bring her
domain of
back in.
cleric domain of destiny could be pretty good.
Okay. So, we bring ourselves back in. So Ippitus has told you, find and free his son Prometheus. He will teach you the alchemy of how to achieve your ends. And if you succeed in saving Prometheus, Ippitus will release to you how to find Kronos. Is there anything else you would like to do while inside of Ippitus's mind?
I don't see anything weird with like Ippitus. Is he like hiding his like true shit? Does he look as well as he appears to be?
His face is a skull, dude.
Or
Yeah, let me
okay.
turn him around towards the sun. Give you a little.
Oh, I didn't even know. Okay, truce. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, he's a little. So just as a like about the description, he does look like his body is brawn and titanous, but his flesh and his face and his hairline and his skin, it all gives the essence of like someone who is plague or old age and is at the cusp of death, but not quite, but has the lively eyes of someone with passion and desire and such.
Um, I will speak for the others and say, try to keep it out of Ippitus's earshot and say, are we sure Athena will agree to this.
Doesn't matter what Athena wants.
By and large, I think that's correct.
We'll have to tell us something when we get back.
No, we don't. What we are about to do, make no mistake, will go against the word of my father and of the current order of Olympus.
I will say it isn't technically going against the will of Zeus. Zeus has never told you you could not do this, but it isn't. You're also not asking for permission, which is
Yeah.
so. You
That's for
know,
forgiveness.
Permission,
yeah. This is
forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know, one is easier than the other, perhaps.
yeah. Forgiveness will be a lot easier than permission. If you get a firm word of no, you might this this
Then,
plot
yeah.
might bring you to Tartarus. Yeah,
Can
just to save
I-
you here.
I do want to take a peek. So when correction, after we've had this conversation and he's like, be like, I will tell you once you've freed my son. Is there any sense of deception to that statement? Does he seem like he's potentially lying
Do I
We
sense
should
any of that
Lying
check
about
in.
what?
about the fact that he will tell us Cronus's plan once we freed his son?
Okay, go ahead and roll me an insight check.
May I
And
roll as well?
only Katara may roll an insight check because she is the one who asked.
Okay.
I think going forward, if someone asks to do a check, it's their check, and we can't just jump on the bandwagon to improve success.
So that would be a 17.
17, you are utterly confident that he is forthright in this. That you have offered him much in many ways, and all of it is to his benefit. And he's very much on board and very much aligned with all of you.
Okay.
You're very, very confident.
So I will at that point sort of look to the others and just say, if everyone's ready, I will pull us back.
Carter asked him why he surrendered to the gods and went back to Tartarus.
He looks at you. He says, I was told to make distraction. I was not told to suffer in the process. I am the god, the deity of mortality, and I have little power over immortals. I had no interest in fighting a battle I was going to lose. I played my role, as my brother wished. And so I felt no need to do the other bit, being humiliated and punished before them.
So he's a realist.
Suppose one can say that. Maybe even the realist of the Titans.
You know, Ipidus, you're all right, man.
Don't judge a Titan by his chains.
Respect. And he'll put out a fist for a fist bump.
What is this? What does this mean?
You apply pressure with your fist, briefly.
And your tiny little fist just gets the end of his fist. He's like, cool.
Yeah, you are. All right.
All right, get out of here.
Before we
I got a 7 o'clock fingernail ripping. So you get out of here.
All right. Have fun.
before we leave, I'm going to just lean over to Thalia and say, if we should do this, I think Ian Warren and Valerie should return to the lands of Gaia before we do this. I don't want them. Gods may be above punishment, but mortals are not.
Is Ian Warren and Valerie your friends?
Yeah, I'm not talking to him.
I know you're
I'm
not.
whispering to.
And he says, "You're in my dream, boy." Girl.
The telepathic bond up.
Okay, fine.
Fine. I telepathic bonded it. It's fine.
You get away with it.
I'll allow it.
Oh, no, well, never mind.
You may have to. I telepathically say to Thalia,
No, you're good. Go.
you may have. We may need to say a quick goodbye to them.
Leave it up to them decide what they wish to do. There's no guarantees they're safe in the lands of Gaia.
I don't want other people to suffer for what my actions.
In this moment, the dream envelops as the dreamer is no longer asleep. And you find yourselves all thrust back into the library of Athena. You awaken before the goddess of wisdom as she sort of turns and puts a book back on the shelf and approaches and says, "Well, what have we learned?"
Looking mighty fine today. I don't think I've had the.
What'd you say?
Oh, I was just commenting. You're looking mighty fine today. That's all. I don't think I've had the chance.
She's sort of like, "Thank you. Thank you, Thalia, for saying so. Um, is there anything that you learned from the dreams of Hippolytus?"
Yes, we learned why he surrendered. We feel it was worthy to put up a fight, and we learned a bit of his philosophy around being mortal, and that's about it. He wasn't too interested in conversing with mortals turned immortal. Much respect for us.
Make me a deception check against the goddess of wisdom.
Can I give her a bonus or something? Like,
Nope.
no.
At this moment, Ouroboros trips and flips some shit and breaks some stuff on accident.
Okay,
Quote,
Thalia, you
unquote.
get
Now
disadvantage.
that's got to give her a bonus.
Oh no,
I'm kidding. You get
Yeah.
just a straight roll.
I'm gonna lucky that because
All
I
right.
rolled 2.
Lucky away.
25.
25. Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay. She looks at you, says, "Disappointing. Nothing else?"
Do I think you think I'm lying?
Do you think she thinks you're lying?
Yeah, did I just get caught?
Make me an insight check. She goes, "You know I know. And I know you know that I know that you know."
I get a 30 on my insight.
Don't go
Um,
in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
she looks at you with a impartial gaze. Um, it's hard to imagine for you that the goddess of wisdom couldn't find a deception when she wanted to. She's a pretty difficult god to lie to, since she is, in fact, the god of knowledge. You don't know for certainty, but it's hard to imagine you succeeded.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep letting it go, so I'm gonna let it go. Yeah,
Okay.
really disappointing.
And
Mighty shame.
here's an adjudication question. Does the telepathic bond continue once we're out of the dream space?
Yes. Yes.
Yasi will proffer the following. Plausible deniability is being able to honestly say, I don't know. That's what she's been provided. So when somebody with authority asks a question, did you know? You can legitimately say, they didn't tell me anything. I didn't know anything. It will be a small, little, tiny thing.
The only
I
other
like,
thing I can think of is that he mentioned he was
is this you out
there to.
loud or in the bond?
No, I'm saying it out loud
Okay,
because this isn't anything that changes what we're doing.
cool.
That he was told to distract, and that there's seemed to be gloating towards some final moment. I don't think that's anything new, but
We certainly knew that there was a distraction involved. I can't help but feel that there is more to the story. But you have failed, and it is unfortunate. I will see about making other attempts that you cannot figure. Well, the search continues. Return if you learn anything. Okay. Do you guys leave?
I leave, but
Expeditiously.
Okay. You guys all ascend up and out of Athena's library, find your way back up to the outer surface of Mount Olympus. The day grows late. The day grows late. It has been some time since you were under for, and some time it took to prepare it. As Apollo's path through the sky reaches the end of its length here in Golden Hour, is there anything to be done on Mount Olympus before you slumber?
uh,
is the
are
boning
or is this, are all the gods back at this point? Do we?
Yeah, the gods have in large returned from their various
Okay.
battles. And again, people sort of wander here and there with goblets and laughter as if the war were already won.
Ah, I guess just in the telepathic bond then. Should we leave now? midst of the celebration.
Do we know? And telepathic bond, of course. One, do we know where Prometheus would be kept?
Yeah, Ryan,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
did he
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
tell us
yeah.
that?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Right.
yeah, 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 yeah. You would know that the Caucasus Mountains
Ah, yes.
to the shut up.
The
To
home of my
the
people.
Ah,
from
yes.
the mountains of
Home.
Caucasus. Um to the east of the Black Sea, where the Amazons make their home in Themyscira to the south of the Black Sea. A long, tall mountain range lies to the east of the Black Sea. The mountains of Caucasus.
It's strange that the Caucasus Mountains and the Black Sea are so close.
Caucasus. You silly
Uh,
bastard.
Somebody go ahead, man.
Save us.
Um,
Save me.
I also say that
It is a
it,
long mountain range, by the way. It is not one mountain, it is a long mountain range. There is much truck to hunt through.
it's about, if my personal memory serves, it's akin to saying it's in the Rockies.
Yeah, similar. It's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an above average mountain range, some would say.
I didn't even say it's bigger than most mountain ranges.
do we- would my other questions are we prepared to do this? Of course, in telepathic bond, because if we do this, we will be tempting the wrath of Zeus. And although we may not be directly in danger because we are gods, the people, the mortals we care about would be.
Well, you've already discussed getting your pair out of here. Do that expeditiously, do that tonight. We'll sleep on this, and before Apollo rises in the morning, we will leave.
All right.
You guys are
and, and
yep.
it's only going to cause concern by dint of our absence. We can send a a missive once we are able to, that we had a thought and a clue on where we might be able to find him. Him being Kronos, we're going to investigate it, and that is sufficient to the task. In the 25 words or less category of of missive.
And I will put out um telepathically, of course. Uh I think I may have a way that we can get that optional task of ours completed.
Well, my initial thought was, if we could get to Themyscira, a place that we know, I have access to a very small boat that can become a very large boat. We sail to the north part of the Black Sea and then journey overland. Did you have a better or different idea?
Um no, not as far as uh the main task, but the optional task. if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Excellent. You see, and he'll kind of look over to Alicia. My father brought up some interesting points when I was asking him if he could alter the agreement that the druids and the gods made. Obviously, he means to use the fact that you cannot go to Gaia as a bargaining chip. And if I were to convince you to alter the agreement to where gods can go to the lands of Gaia, then he would bestow something of great importance to me. And I would simply have to ask for the right thing, perhaps.
So he wants into the lands of Gaia.
That is correct. But if the lands of Gaia have never and will never harbor Kronos or any of the Titans, then there won't be any problems.
The lands of Gaia have never harbored the Titans. They've had no involvement for centuries.
As far as anyone knows.
Are you saying that Zeus thinks Cronus is hiding the lands of Gaia?
I don't know if he thinks it, but he definitely has not ruled out the matter altogether. And if the Titans at any point from here on were to find themselves in the lands of Gaia and the druids were found to be harboring them, then some radical measures would be put in place.
Do you want me to ask in one if Kronos could be hiding there? Is that what you're asking?
I just need mainly your approval, but I suppose Valerie and Ian Warren, their openness to changing the agreement to where gods can travel into the lands of Gaia. With the guise that it is simply to allow you to go home. All the while, the real reward is the gift. Because, let's face it, if we succeed, then you won't be going back to the lands of Gaia anyway.
I don't know if I can trust Zeus in the lands of Gaia. I just don't know if I can.
Well, that is but one way that I see that we will be able to willingly get that which we seek from him.
What is this gift that he offered you, by the way?
It's unimportant. What is important is that if I were to ask for what someone else requires of us, then he may bestow it.
How exactly would you suggest to Zeus that we need knowledge of how the cosmos works? How is that going to further our battle?
I'm sure it will involve some flattery, some meaning to be closer to the pedestal that is my father. Because I think of the great many things my father wants at this particular moment in time. That which Alicia can offer and which I can foster is very beneficial to him.
I suggest we start by finding the one we're looking for
Mm-hmm.
and getting that piece of information from Impetus. Maybe then we can appeal to Athena, goddess of knowledge, to petition Zeus with Thalia. Get the first part, offer knowledge about Kronos' whereabouts, and convince them that this is the path forward. If we ask now, we show our hand.
True, but I fear we'd just be prolonging showing our hand.
But at least we have something that is a bit more of a... I think he'd probably be more interested in the whereabouts of Kronos, do you not?
So you're saying we offer Kronos' location in exchange for that which we seek?
We say we've done what we were told, and this is the way we went about it. And convince him that what we're planning is a good path forward. And I think having Athena and Thalia there to help with that argument would be a benefit.
I will concede.
Okay. So, you have a couple of things to do, it seems, before bedtime. Some people to send off, some plays to make. You guys have entered the grand game of Olympian politics more than ever before, and I'm here for it. So, who's up? Who has stuff they need to do?
Um. So, Thalia, we've agreed not to speak to Valor Indian One yet, correct?
You do what you think.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You do what you think is best. I think that the woman, their choice, but they can stay with them.
Breaking up a bit, just as a heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you sound like you're underwater. I think you got to speak up a little bit.
I was saying
Much better.
that it might be good to warn them, but it's ultimately their choice whether they stay or go.
All right. I'll simply say I'll simply say that it might be best to be in the Lance of Gaia for now. For a few days at least. And perhaps not to come back until they have a message from Gyasi or I, perhaps.
If decides to seek wrath against you, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to hurt you, whether they're here or in Gaia.
I'll let them make their choice. Anything you want me to tell Valerie?
To come see me before she goes.
All right. I'll be off to see them then.
Okay. Let's go take care of that interaction. So I'm not going to do a whole map swap, but Alicia, you go find Ian Warren, who had already said he was going to head back soon. Here in the twilight, you see uh, maybe Ian Warren kind of like looking out at Mount Olympus. See Valerie's there too, just kind of seeing him off. And he's just kind of like admiring the sun. You guys had night and day where you were from, but you had no sun and moon. Um, you had the stars, but again, those divine celestial bodies did not exist where you're from. And he's just kind of like taking a last look at the twilight, sort of smiling. Um, he shares a hug with Valerie, and you approach.
Well, I give them both a hug to kick things off for sure. And ask them. So, in when you're about to return?
Yeah, it's the work here is done, and I'm sure Yasi will, or you will let me know if I'm needed here to settle anything that comes up. But I think it's time that the Circle of Archdruids knew what has transpired here in more than a couple of words. So time I went, time I went. To keep them in suspense no longer.
And about when you tell them that what I am now, tell them all I've ever done is try to protect them and the lens of Gaia. And this is just where that road led me. And to tell Maeve that I forgive her and that she's the greatest person I've ever known. And I love her.
I will.
She's a mother to me. Valerie, I don't know if do you plan on going back with the end one?
No, no, I can't leave. I can't leave. I have things I gotta do around here.
something, some things or someone.
Oh, ha ha, whatever. You're just jealous. Keeps you
Jealous?
up and down.
It was good. Look, if you weren't gonna move on how I was, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you. I
I
don't
didn't
blame you.
make any moves. She made moves on me, and
I
she
don't.
could have chose between us, and she picked me,
She did. She did. She's very lucky.
and she chose well.
hmm Choices. About your choices, Valerie. I want. I and I get in there and I get quieter up to it, and I to make sure it's quiet as quiet as the wind. I my actions to stop Kronos may or may not lead me to tempt the wrath of Zeus. If that happens, I'm less worried about my well-being and more since I'm now a god, and I would be more worried about yours. There is the possibility that you might be safer for now if you went back to the lands of Gaia, if you so chose. I won't make you do
Sure.
anything.
She says, and I assume you're like maybe like hugging and like pretty much whispering in each other's ear.
Yeah,
And she'll say, "So you're trying to do something that's gonna fuck over Zeus?"
he may not be happy about it, even if it ends up benefiting him.
How can I help? That fucker
And
made me starve to death and die of thirst every
I
fucking
try
day
to,
for many days on end for weeks.
I try to, as I quietly almost laugh.
If you need
Um,
help, I'm happy to help.
I think even
He's
if
so
you get,
fucking dope.
if even if even if that even if that pr- even if you wind up as a corpse again, a hungry corpse again.
Okay, take it easy. Just, do you want my help or not?
I welcome any help. The Lands of Gaia. Okay. If you want more, go do yourself a favor and go see your very pretty girlfriend.
I
Yes.
will go see my pretty girlfriend.
She's she's
Um,
she's heads over heels for you.
yeah, I know. Whatever.
She's
And
like,
she'll turn to Ian Warren and give him like a last hug, and they'll hold like that hug for a couple of seconds, graciously. She says, "I'll I will return. I'll see you, Ian Warren." Goes, "Take care of yourself, Valerie." And he'll look at you, Alicia, and says, "Hope we get to see each other again one day.
my guy got you in one.
May God watch over you here."
hmm
Um, and he'll kind of like walk across the way to one of the trees and tap his staff on the ground, and it will, or actually, no, that's not quite what he's doing. He'll kind of step back and he will sort of pull from his, kind of like Gandalf pulls his pipe from his staff, kind of like pull a flute from sort of intermingled with the staff. It almost sort of like opens up to him and like reveals it, and he pulls it out and he kind of blows into it, and the wind will sort of wrap around him with leaves and flower petals, and he'll sort of vanish into the wind.
Always, he was always good on the flutes.
It's all right.
He was pretty good. Now come on, the goddess of grace awaits to see you. See you. It's not it's a bad idea to keep a goddess waiting. I don't know if you knew that, Valerie. I don't know if you knew that, Valerie. Besides, maybe she wants to worship you tonight.
You, you,
I,
you calm
I fly
down.
off. I fly off as a bird before she can say anything else.
Just She like shakes her head as you fly off. And she will go
I
fight Dahlia.
I love teasing
Uh,
her.
apparently.
Mm.
At some point, I think she'll meet you, maybe Thalia, where you two both rest your heads for the night. She'll meet you at your little temple space that you two have been sharing lately. Um, she'll alleviate herself of the burdens of the day, such as clothing, and get in bed with you. And she'll kind of like nestle up next to you and kind of like do one of these and like look up at your face. She'll go, "So, you're a politician now."
Um, I have been dabbling in politics for quite some time now. I started with two kings, as a matter of fact. I'll have to tell you the story one day.
You guys do a lot of bragging. Has anyone ever told you guys that? You and Alicia and everybody else?
Hmm. Well, we are gods, and we have things worth bragging about. My lovers, for one, and she'll give her like a little caress on the cheek.
Your little crust on the cheek. You gotta like close her eyes and feels the like tingling sensation of your touch. And she'll say, "Lisa told me that you guys are into some getting in pretty deep with some stuff. I don't know what, but I'm
Oh,
here to, yeah, go ahead.
and she'll say telepathically, to sorry, Valerie.
Valerie.
Yeah, um, oh, sure, we're just gonna go, free. Oh my God.
Prometheus.
Thank you, Prometheus. We're just gonna go free Prometheus and find the location of Kronos and steal his power and bestow it amongst the party. So, no small thing.
Oh, is that all?
Mhm. I opted out of it. Not interested in that sort of power, nor that responsibility, truth be told.
I'd be lying if that didn't make me feel kind of good. I We hear a lot about the gods, and I'm glad you're not being too gaudy.
I can never be gaudy, that's for sure. I'm much too
Um,
fun.
she sort of like narrows her eyes. She's like very funny.
Mhm.
Um, and she'll like give you a kiss, and before it gets a little too spicy, she'll kind of pull back and be like, "Oh, who's Prometheus?"
Oh, he created mortals. He's the Titan that created mortals and bestowed magic upon the people. Um, in some ways, I owe my powers to him.
Oh, okay. I think I know who that. Actually, I'll roll to see if she's ever heard of that. And she goes, "Oh, okay. Where I'm from, he's called the Father."
Hmm, the father. Uh,
Well, you just let me know what you need, and you could call me your faithful disciple or whatever.
well, in that case, there's something new I wanted to try, and I think it could be quite exciting. If
Hey,
you're, of course.
you have taken me on many unexpected journeys, and I can't say that any of them have been unpleasant. So, um, yes, to whatever surprise you have now.
Excellent. So Valia's
Are we
gonna
gonna like teleport to the moon or something?
no, I'm gonna take you somewhere much, much better. And um close your eyes.
And
So Thalia is going to use Wish to cast uh Simulacrum on Valerie.
Never seen
you
it used
say
this way.
very quietly to yourself, like, you know, I wish to simulacrum Valerie. And there is a cold wind in the room that manifests into a swirling energy and manifested from that ice and snow that is brought forth comes the beautiful nude form of Valerie the Archdruid, a second Valerie the Archdruid, who kind of looks at herself and goes, "Whoa." Okay, she's like, she's like so confused.
Yeah, so I'll put a finger to my lips. All right, Valerie, your surprise is ready. You can open your eyes.
She opens her eyes, looks around, and she sees herself, and she's kind of like, yeah, she says like, "Whoa," and they say it like at the same time. Um, and she kind of like looks herself up and down, and the other one looks at her. I think the one who's like laying with you like looks herself up and down, is like, you see that they're trying to they're both trying to figure out how they feel about what just happened. Like they're like looking at each other, like assessing how they look, and it's like, is that really what I look like when I'm not? Like, yeah, it's like that. Like she's kind of like starts. They like start to get a little self-conscious of themselves.
Have you ever, well, have you ever been with two women at once? And have you ever wondered what it's like to be with yourself?
They both are immediately like super embarrassed, and the one in the bed is like, "Elliot, you know you're the only woman I've ever, with."
Oh, come on. I know you've been with yourself before. I'm sure the nights are lonely in Gaia.
Um,
This isn't too far.
Make a persuasion check.
And I've got advantage because we've.
I'm gonna say roll straight because this. Oh well, the simulacrum has to follow your commands technically. So, yeah, you may roll this at advantage because this is technically only for Rio Valerie, whereas simulacrum Valley has no choice.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
23.
23. She sort of takes a minute, and you're kind of like ebbing her on. She kind of like looks at herself and looks herself up and down at you, and a wry smile curls across the side of her lip, and she kind of, I don't know, and things kind of start to get fucking spicy. We're gonna drop the curtain pretty hard on that situation as Simulacrum Valerie is invited to bed by real Valerie. Um,
I'm gonna need that stat block now.
what's that block?
Valerie stat block.
Oh my God. Okay, just it's the Arc Druid stat block.
Oh, okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
I thought Thalia was going to simulacrum herself.
I know.
I thought so too.
She wants that 9th level slot. That's why
Is
she
this
hit Valerie.
yeah? So Eric was right. Is this a complicated way of telling Valerie to go fuck herself?
I know that was hilarious. I can't see.
You were. Wait, I thought I said.
No,
I beat you to it.
for myself because I'm technically a celestial and it's only for.
That is true. That is true.
I see.
That would be an extension of the initial powers because you are a celestial. Yeah, so yeah, this works just fine. So just pull up the Archdruid stat block. I don't think she has spent any of her spells or anything today, so you should have the full list. But just remember, she cannot learn anything else. She is currently unequipped. She needs equipment. And yeah, she can't learn anything else. She can't regain spell slots, can't regain hit points.
Cool. Well, I mean, she can regain. I don't know. It's like really expensive.
She can regain hit points, but yeah, it's like it's this huge labor, this hugely expensive and time-consuming labor.
I think it's 100 GP per 10 hit points or something like that.
No, per 1 hit point. It's like,
Yeah.
I think it's like 100. I think it's like 100 GP of like gems, like gemstones or something. for 1 hit point in like a couple of hours of work. It's fucked.
Is it worth it? Probably not. Is
Oh.
it fun? Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So that's fun. Anyway. This is very much like a Game of Thrones styles game all of a sudden, where crazy sex stuff is happening and politics and all kinds of crazy things.
Beautiful people talking in
Backstabbing.
beautiful rooms.
That's true, exactly.
Brothers and sisters.
Okay, speaking of which, Alicia and Thalia have done their good works. Now I would like to see if there's anything else going on for anybody else. Katara, Sanos, Gyasi, Ouroboros, stuff to do this evening.
I think Ouroboros just goes to his room and paces back and forth.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet pace. Good job. And I will remind you as you stand there, Ouroboros, you were promised much by Zeus. You were promised a life worthy of your station. You were promised powers. You were promised domains. You were promised many things for your loyalty to Zeus, for working on behalf of Zeus. It's tempting, perhaps.
Indeed.
What about Yasi, Sanos, Katara? Anything from you guys?
Nope, I'm just headed to the bunkhouse and gonna have a meal, gonna relax.
Have an easy night. Fair enough. What about you two? Dark One and Darker Two.
I have a weird thing, but Silenos, if you have something in mind first.
It can't be weirder than what we just saw.
Or so you wish.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm still kind of thinking about mine. If you want to go,
Okay.
you have
Let's
something.
hear about that weird shit.
I wanted to, they were so helpful in the future. I kind of want to walk near the Fates Temple.
Okay.
And try to get a sense if I feel any sort of calling towards it. Like there's something new that they might want to tell us or me. I'm
If
not
you just
gonna
walk
like
around,
go. I want to, you know, see if there's something.
you want to be invited in.
If there's something I should know, like I want to kind of, knowing like the oracle aspect. Like I want to see if they're willing to offer a glimpse into. I mean, they probably know what we're planning. But
As you walk around outside, the doors do not swing open. Fate does come to people, but it's also something sought. And as you come here seeking, but not fully, the doors do not swing open for you to unleash their secrets upon you. Secrets often need to be found and not given.
fuck it. I'll go. I'll go towards the door.
All right, you go and you step within to meet with the fates. All right, let me just put on my voodoo music. You walk within. It's better than this. Yeah, dark rituals. You walk within, and the fates indeed are within. The maiden, the crone, and the mother reside within. All of them toiling as they go, and they turn their attention to you, Katara. The maiden will say, "Welcome, welcome. What can we do for you?"
Thank you for for letting me come and see you. She'll kind of like bow a little bit to them. Um, I wanted to thank you for your help in getting us back here. I don't think we would have made it without all of your assistance, your future assistance, I suppose.
It has
And
been a very strange tapestry to spin, many threads prepared to cut. We're glad that it has not needed to go that way.
I I was curious if I might ask a question.
The mother says all you can do is ask and hope to receive an answer.
When I was here before, you gave me certain prophecies and answered questions then. I'm curious if you see anything different in the tapestry. Has anything changed for me?
The mother says, much has changed since last we left. Always changing, always spinning in different directions, and many intersections have there been. Your mother, the goddess of crossroads, has destined you for many still, I imagine. You have a crossroads before you now, even.
Is there anything more or anything that you might can see about what we will face when we meet Kronos?
You see, the mother kind of puts her hand up and spins her finger around one thread and pulls it down and sort of pulls the line and the yarn across many different threads and kind of laces them around her fingers. And sort of looks through all the various webs. Your sort of golden thread, you assume she's looking past, and she says, there are many fates that I have woven upon you, Katara, and so tightly knit is it to those you travel with. Yes, there is much that can happen, and much that has been put in motion that cannot be stopped. Much that has changed this very day that cannot be stopped. You have enemies now on Olympus. You have friends, even still. And you have some who may yet still be friends, but right now plot in the shadows. My advice to you, Katara, is caution. The gods have eyes in many domains. To proceed forward on the path you seem set on, you'll need to do so cautiously. You'll need to be wary of your allies as well as your enemies.
Thank you for your wisdom. And I will head on out.
You'll also, as a note, you'll see the crone just has her back to you. She's like working her threads and snipping lines here and there, but she's like, unlike before where she has had equal interest to you as the mother of the maiden, she has her back to you and works and toils without regard.
Gotcha.
Probably a good thing. And with that, you exit. Okay, everybody's heading to bed.
Yes, sir.
We is it how late is it?
The sun's gone down as you step out. The moon hangs in the air. Artemis has taken up her brother's mantle as the god of the sky right now, the god who watches over the sky.
Would there be time for me to write in my spell book
Sure.
before sleep? Okay.
Yeah, you have like your crazy sleep thing thing that you do. So yeah.
I'm also gonna wake up my zombie and tell him to like help me like get inks and stuff. The king that I killed and what's I can't remember. I like buried him and was like, you'll be there for a bit.
It's like, oh, okay.
Mr.
Yeah, you do
Ryan,
some copy. Yeah.
I have one thing I want to do before bed.
Yep.
Once everyone, like the whole group, kind of goes to bed and everyone separates around
Yep.
nightfall,
Yep.
your boy's gonna go sneak around.
Neck around. All right, let's sneak
Yeah.
around. Where are you sneaking to?
Sorry. Two main places. Like the main meeting hall, at the top of Olympus, like
Huh?
where Zeus's throne is. And then if
Sure.
hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up.
Okay.
Pass without trace on myself
Okay.
before all of
All right.
this.
All right. Got it.
And then yeah, I'm gonna fly around in my dough around Olympus. If I hear anything not in Zeus's hall, then I'm gonna go to Athena's temple.
Okay. I want you to roll me a perception check.
Okay. This is dim light. Can I roll it at advantage? Because of my
Sure.
seeing of darkness feat?
Yep.
It's gonna be a 23.
It's really fucking good. It's a real good roll, buddy boy.
And I will just say, just as a note, I do have the alert feat, so I can't be
Uh-huh.
surprised.
Understood. Understood. Um. Okay. Nope. There's no one in the hall. There's nobody in the like the main throne room greeting hall. You look around, looking for shadows in the night, people plotting or what have you. For whatever reason tonight, it seems that there is nothing going on over there. But then you want to go to Athena's temple.
From what I remember, there's a few windows kind of outside, and if I remember, it kind of sides onto the mountain. So I want to ride my doe to like above the mountain near one of the windows.
Got it. Your perception check is going to tell you that you see very, very difficult to not terrible, not for you anyway, difficult to spot, but you do see there is at least one owl, one or two owls that sit atop the live owls that sit atop the temple and just kind of like almost sentry-like keep their eyes open. You roll a stealth check?
No, but I can't. No.
Yep, roll one for your doe and for yourself, please.
No problem. Can I, at this point, where is there a location where I am versus where the temple is? This in this spot or no?
I can assume that you haven't quite made your approach yet, so you'll be fine
Okay.
to stealth.
Okay, would I be able to just like dive off my doe, slow fall onto the mountain?
Yeah, you see
Leave
it
it
coming, and
behind.
you can like position yourself, leave it behind. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, make stealth check. It's gonna be a 39.
You're fine. You're fine. You make your way over. There are no windows on the Temple of Athena. These temples don't have a lot of
Oh, no.
windows. But you can slip inside with ease with your 39 if you wish to. As normal, her temple here is a little underutilized up here. Like there is a bed and a place to sleep and what have you. Actually, let's see. To no surprise of you, She's burning the midnight oil, and you see the candle lights from down below, and you can slip into the archives without being noticed. The giant owl flies by at one point. You move across up to a bookshelf and flies past you. And is there anything you would like to do within Athena's vaults?
Um,
You see her
no,
down there at the very base with a number of books and looking over the battle map. And I think she would be attended by, I think somebody's there.
no problem. I was just gonna say that's kind of what I want to do. I was wondering if I could make a new perception check to see if I can hear any conversations or see what she's doing. I can't see. Hear any conversations?
Yeah.
I remember
Go
it's
ahead.
yeah, my bad.
Yep. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Oof. I'm gonna use inspiration. If I'm rolling advantage, does that just reroll one?
Uh, if you're rolling with an advantage, you roll twice and take the highest.
Yes. But sorry, if I wanted to burn an inspiration to re-roll, just in
Yeah,
general,
you'd
I
roll
wouldn't.
one more time and take the highest of the two.
Oh, okay. All right. No problem.
Yeah.
Gonna do that. Not even worth. That's okay. 22.
22. You slip low and you begin to hear the words of Athena being traded with none other than your mother, Artemis.
That's what I figured. I would like to listen
Um,
to their conversation.
You hear Athena say, I still do not understand your reasons for it makes no tactical sense why you didn't allow him to embrace Nyx more readily. You yourself dabble in darkness. You are the goddess of the moon. She says, doesn't matter, Athena. What is it that you wish to speak of? She says, your son knows something. Him and his friends know something. She goes, about what? She says, I sent them to go speak to Thetis. And they returned claiming to have learned nothing. She says, okay, did you believe them? He says, no, of course I didn't. Artemis says, well, what do you think they learned? What do you think that they're going to do? Athena says, something to the benefit of Ippitus, no doubt. And what is to the benefit of Ippitus may very well be to the benefit of Kronos. They are young gods, easily manipulated, overconfident in their godly power. I have no doubt that he has manipulated them. She says, you want me to spy on them. Athena says, I've already taken care of that. I want to know you're at my side. I want to know that when the time comes, when they play their hands, you'll help me. Artemis sort of like looks down. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, just while this is happening, can I try to juxtapose? Oh my God. Okay, whatever. Put myself between.
Juxtapose.
Yes, thank you, pal. Appreciate that.
Fuck
Uh,
out of here.
but shut up. Between Artemis and like the closest kind of exit where I would have seen she came from, so that as she's leaving, I can try and catch her.
The only exit that you're aware of is the entrance. There's only one entrance or exit in and out of the.
Okay, no problem. I'll
yeah.
just make sure that I'm close enough that when I see she's leaving, she's fast
You
as
can
hell.
follow.
She can just, yeah.
Got
But
it.
sorry to interrupt, Carrie. Yeah.
No
If
problem.
there's anything more.
Athena comes around the table and puts a hand on Artemis's shoulder and says, I know he's your son, and he holds domain here on Olympus. And per the rule of Zeus, we can do nothing to harm him. I'm not asking you to harm him or defeat him in battle. I'm asking you for your support against him. Because you ask very hard things, Athena. He says, I know. For the good of Olympus, we need to be ready. Ipetus and Kronos are playing their hand. They're playing them through Zeus's new gods. I want your support when the time is right. Be ready.
With that. Quit doing
Artemis
that.
says, get that out. Artemis says, or begins to sort of like nod her head. And she says, I. If it protects Greece and it protects Olympus, of course you'll have my supports, but of course. And she says, thank you. I would like it if you could try and rally support as well. Just to be prepared. I'm not ready to bring this to Zeus, so let's keep this between us. Let's find a list of gods who we can ensure will do the right thing when they go to play their hand, and I'll keep my eyes on them. Artemis says, okay. Okay. And Artemis sort of looks at her and says, you want Apollo, don't you? She says, of course I want Apollo. He sees everything during the daylight. Artemis sort of sighs, says, you want night and day against them. Athena says, yes, of course. I can only spy so well. You and your brother together are almost omniscient. Please. Artemis says, I'll speak to Apollo. Athena says, thank you. And we'll kiss her. And just nothing too crazy. Just a kiss. I
Silas
love
knows
it
about
because
this. He doesn't care.
yeah,
He knows about
yeah.
this.
And Athena gives, or Artemis gives Athena a faltering smile, which Athena meets with her ever steel gaze, excuse me. And eventually Artemis sort of begins to depart. And if you want to follow Artemis,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Athena's
And
using her love.
follow her as she's leaving, like so that we've gone from the temple, gone from the owls and
Yeah.
stuff.
and you're following without issue. I should pull up my stat block for old Artemis because she is pretty keen eyes herself, even though you rolled like a 39. I don't think she's gonna find you, but just in case. And she'll sort of walk across Olympus and begin to make her way to the lower sections and go pretty much immediately towards Apollo's temple.
Yeah, oh man, no, I'm not letting her get there. As we are halfway and I see a point in which I can like, to be honest, dive her into a bush, I'm gonna do that.
Make me an athletics check at advantage to grapple Artemis. You're doing this from stealth, so I will give you advantage. And with your 39, you beat out her passive perception. It doesn't take long, by the way. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. I was just gonna say it's a 1 and a 5. Silos like jumps out of a bush and he's like, come here. And he bumps into her and he like looks around. And they're fully exposed, and then he tries to, I need you to come here. Now.
So,
And he grabs her
I'm
hand.
gonna save
Okay.
you here because I'd forgotten something that's actually kind of important.
That's fine.
Athena and Artemis or Athena and Apollo are two gods that are fairly hand in hand with one another. One is of knowledge and one is also of knowledge and music, and their temples are actually connected. Athena or Artemis takes like a left turn and gets into like an isolated hallway, and you know that it's like your last moment. You sort of dive into the hallway with Artemis,
Precisely.
and get sort of a private audience very quickly.
Okay. Just using 2 key points. I'm just gonna greater invisibility myself.
Okay.
We need to talk.
Okay, you dive into this room, you try and grapple her. And she says, "What are you doing, Silenos?"
Stop! Stop! We need to speak. You can't go in there
Yes,
right now.
you see her sight goes slightly steely, almost like that hunter. Like, there's the fluffy Artemis and then there's the hunter Artemis.
Yeah.
And you're getting the hunter Artemis right now. And she says,
No worries.
"What are
Silenos
you?"
is blind, so as she does that, and I can feel her gaze kind of pierce. He'll just kind of tilt his head, not menacingly, but he sees what
Yeah.
is happening.
Yeah. What are you? What have you gotten yourself into, Silenos? I'm gonna guess that you were listening.
Just as you plan to. Isn't that right? I don't.
Plan to what?
To listen. Night and day. Cocks his head. I don't say this with accusation, but I need you to listen to me.
Okay.
I've resisted evil for Olympus before. I took on evil in the past to get back here to save it. It's not a question of what myself or my fellow new Olympians will do. It's about what we always have done and always will do. And that's whatever needs to be done. And are we young and naive? Yes, that's true. But time isn't something we have. Solution is upon us, or it isn't.
You're speaking in riddles. Athena speaks in riddles. Speak. What the hell is going on?
You're wise. Figure it out.
I intend to.
I love you. I love your domain. I love what you've done for me, what you've done for myself, creating me into the god. I am the person beyond that. I am the domain I represent. That was your doing. And in doing what must be done with my Olympians, I am merely playing my role.
If you are so thankful and so grateful for my protection, then pay it forward, my son. I go to my brother for his allsight and trust of Athena, who I trust considerably, who I have had loyalty with considerably. Do I not have yours?
You do. It just feels like we're always fighting for yours. We've completed our trials. We've proved ourselves.
You don't trust me,
I do.
but not enough to tell me this. If you do not trust me enough to tell me why you need my protection now, then how am I to trust that Athena might not be right? That you're in over your head about something to do with Hippotas. I've always protected you. I've always done what's best to try and defend what is just, but
What is just or what you think is just? Powers
when
are
I
strong, but powers such as the bolt, such as your bow, such as my bow, and he kind of stands up taller, must be wielded.
you seek power.
No,
Hippotas has promised you power.
no.
Then why do you speak of weapons?
Because rather than see any new outcome, you seek to bide time. And that is something that isn't in our hands. And unless you have a plan of getting that under control.
My plan is to trust the goddess who has shown the greatest justice and care for this world. My plan is to trust Athena. And she has led us well. This entire war is... What exactly are you asking me, Silenos?
Have your justice, not Athena's. Not what she thinks is right, not what you're being told right.
I cannot give justice and judgment to something do not know that I'm judging. All I see is Athena asking for my health and you slinking in the shadows, asking me not to trust her.
Because I see her gaze on us, not trusting us. Time and time again.
You're not proving yourself very trustworthy in this moment. Who am I to trust? What am I to do? She believes you to be in league with Titans. I don't know why she hasn't gone to Zeus with this. If that's the case, if she hasn't gone to Zeus, there's some part of her that sees some benefit in this, some path forward, some tactic to be utilized. I don't know, but that's where I trust her. She asks me to watch the night sky, and asks me to ask my brother to watch the day sky. What are you asking?
Merely watch it fairly. That's all. Trust that it'll work. Trust that there's a solution, and trust your son, and he'll misty step out the door.
Nice try. You misty step out the door, and you kind of skitter away. You're like, fucking all shadowy and shit. And as you like make your way out the door, and up out of like the temple, she's standing there, waiting for you. She says, I taught you all you know. Do not insult me by thinking you can evade me. Nor should you insult me by insinuating that I am some sheep to Athena's tactics. I am Artemis, the goddess of the wilds. I am the goddess of the moon. And the only justice is the justice that I see fit. I will do what she has entrusted me with. And you do not need to ask me to wash partially. I am no one's servant. And I can prove it to you if you need.
I don't need anything. Do what you will, Huntress.
I will. And you, tread carefully. And she'll walk away. She'll walk towards Apollo's temple. Is there anything you would do else?
No, that's fine. I had stuff I would have done to try and get away from her, but I guess she can just teleport and shit.
It wasn't so much like a teleport, but it was like she knew where you were going or where the exits were, and she found her way to you.
Mm.
Um,
Okay. Well,
okay. So before we wrap up, We have one last thing to sort out. Hmm. Do you drink? Do you sleep, Katara? No, you don't sleep. Thalia, what sweet dreams you must have. What's fluffy, wonderful, warm dreams you must be having uh, as you lay in bed with Valerie 1 and Valerie 2. Um, and as you dream, you find yourself in a strange place. You find yourself, dreams of lust and passion and fulfillments that you enjoy deeply. But then you find yourself somewhere less exciting and more strange. You find yourself in a mountainscape. There are figures standing before you, um, figures who are as divine as you, two robed, one winged, but all seem to have that same expression in their face, that forlorn expression that seems to insinuate that they are not whole. They are but part of what they represent. The center winged one speaks. Welcome back. Now, goddess of grace, how we have enjoyed crafting your dreams, but now we must speak. I am Morpheus, god of dreams, and you stand before the Oniri. We have met many times, though you have not known it. I welcome you now to our domain.
Why do you bring me here?
For we control all dreams, and I, the master of them. The ritual which you performed to invade the mind of Impetus was crafted here in these very dreamscapes, these very walls, and we saw and heard all spoken. We know of your plots to possess time, and so we come to you, you who has the voice loudest amongst your companions. We come to cut a bargain. Thou, goddess of grace, with such care we ask you to tread, that you might benefit me and me alone. He looks at his hand and says, I am but the dreaming. I am but a manifestation of dreams. But like you, no, I am not like you. You are whole, a mind with your own passions and desires, lusts and wishes. And you see the world as it is. I desire such things. You have alliance with Impetus. So I demand only one thing for my silence from Zeus. I ask from you power to be as you are now. Not but a personification of dreams, but a god in truth. Seek the sands of time. Seek the sands of time and bring them here thus. And with them, I may be made whole. With this payment, with this tribute, you will have the alliance of the Oniri, the silence of the Oniri. And Zeus may never have to hear the deal you made. or the deals you shall make in the future. Your dreams will remain sacred. Do we have a bargain?
Don't understand how the sands of time will make you whole.
We have seen much in the dreams of many. Chronomancers of the land, in Zeus's own land. The sands of time have been made by the winds, for all things become dust and sand. The mountains erode into but the small particles that become the desert sands. The dust of bones burnt upon pyre rots still where the desert stands. Experience, memory, the memory of the earth, the memory of Gaia, the power of all those laying to rest reside within them. The power of the past, for it is within the hourglass that the sands trickle down and bring the past closer to the future. With these sands, we might change them for a different purpose. Make these things serve less the powers of time and more the peace of the dream. Make things dream more wildly, more spectacular. Elevate my own powers so that dreams may come to all. For it is within the power of Hypno that the sands of time were created, and as to Hypno, the sands of time should return, and I would gain dominion over the fading from the waking world. And the dream would become more real, more splendid than ever.
Wish you'd the sands of time to elevate your own power.
No. I seek them not for power. I seek them to have a mind of my own, to be able to walk on the mountain of Olympus, to feel grass between my feet, to feel the wind on my cheek and have a mind of my own. Know what love is in truth, as mortals dream of it. Feel lust as you have in your dreams, to experience the waking world. Oh, I wish to know the mortals better, so that I can make their dreams more beautiful than ever.
Do I get the sense he's being truthful, that that's what he would really use the sands of time for?
Insight check.
6.
Fucking 26. It is easy to see his yearning for the waking world. It is easy to see his yearning. He has long resided over the unconscious minds of mortals who love and lust and fear and greed, and he envies the mortals for these things. And he wants, even as a god, even as an immortal being, he wants to taste what it's like to love as you have. He wants to taste what it's like to exist in the waking world, and also to craft dreams much like a painter wishes to excel his craft. He doesn't desire this for power. He desires this to be made whole. You do sense truth in your
Morpheus, you once changed my life and in many ways led me to the path of being whole when I was still in the city of Athens the night of my wedding. I would do this for you, not out of your subtle blackmail, but out of an exchange. I will do this for you.
You will bow low and say, and all who dream shall know that Thalia truly was and ever is the goddess of grace. I have no doubt Hippolytus knows where to find the hourglass. We await you, but we do not await for too long. Thank you.
Energy.
That will awaken, and this dream that you have had of Morpheus will feel more like a vision than a true dream, something that is crystal clear within your mind as you awaken, unlike a lot of dreams that sort of slip away with the waking world. This one will hold true and plain within your mind. And you know that a bargain has been struck. You have a limited time to appease Morpheus. And that is where we will end this session. Now, as much as I was going to give that to you, Katara, because you have a previous relationship with Morpheus, I think I gotta say I do like how that went. That was a much more interesting your interaction there with your past relationship with Morpheus. Dahlia. I think that was actually very interesting.
To be fair, the only time I was able to actually sleep was when I was near their temple, so it makes sense.
Does make sense. Does make sense. They have turned their eyes from you. The sleeping world is not one for you.
Yep.
Oh my God, guys, you're playing politics on me. Woo!
Yeah.
We have so many tasks now.
Yeah. Get the sense of time. I don't even know what it's all.
Guys, you are pawns no longer. You are playing the grand game. You are bishops and rooks and knights.